ever caught on live television. In just 38 seconds, one comment would turn a friendly interview into an absolute disaster that would leave the entire studio speechless. Good Morning America was supposed to be a calm, relaxing way for millions of people to start their day. The studio lights were bright, the set was colorful, and the energy was positive. Lara Spencer sat in her chair, ready to welcome her guest. She had done thousands of interviews before. She knew how to make people feel comfortable. She knew how to ask the right questions. She was professional, warm, and always prepared. When Meghan Markle walked onto the set, the audience clapped. She smiled and waved. She sat down across from Lara. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed fine. But what was about to happen would shock everyone watching. Lara smiled warmly and started the interview. "Thank you so much for being here today. We are so excited to have you." Meghan nodded. "Thank you for having me." "So," Lara continued, "I wanted to start by talking about your recent projects. You have been working on some really interesting things lately. Can you tell our viewers what you have been focusing on?" Meghan shifted in her seat. Her smile seemed forced. "Well, I have been working on several initiatives that I think are really important." "That sounds wonderful," Lara said. "Can you give us some specifics? Our audience would love to know more." There was a pause. Meghan looked at Lara with an expression that seemed annoyed. "I think what I am doing speaks for itself, honestly." Lara kept her professional smile. She was used to guests who were a little guarded. She tried a different approach. "Of course, I think our viewers are just really curious because they admire your work. They want to hear about it directly from you." Meghan crossed her arms. "You know, I find it interesting that you are asking me these questions. Do you ask everyone these kinds of basic questions? Or just me?" The studio got quiet. Lara looked confused. "I am sorry, I do not understand. These are standard interview questions. I ask all of my guests about their projects." "Do you, though?" Meghan said. Her voice had an edge to it now. "Because it feels like you are trying to put me on the spot." Lara took a breath. She remained calm. "I promise you, I am just trying to have a conversation. That is what we do here. We talk to interesting people about interesting things." Meghan laughed, but it was not a friendly laugh. "Interesting. That is one word for it." The audience was completely silent now. People in the studio looked at each other, confused. This was not how interviews normally went. Lara was known for being one of the kindest hosts on television. She never created conflict. She never made her guests uncomfortable. Lara tried again. "Why don't we talk about something else? I know you have been passionate about charitable work. Can you tell us about that?" "Charitable work," Meghan repeated. "You mean the things I actually care about? Or the things you think will get you good ratings?" Lara's smile faded slightly. She was clearly taken aback. "I genuinely want to hear about the causes that matter to you. That is why I am asking." "Right," Meghan said sarcastically. "Because you care so much." Lara put her hands together. She spoke carefully. "I think maybe we got off on the wrong foot here. Let me start over. What would you like to talk about today?" Meghan leaned back in her chair. "Maybe I do not want to talk about anything. Maybe I am tired of people like you pretending to care when really you just want a story." "People like me?" Lara asked. Her voice was still calm, but there was hurt in her eyes. "I am not sure what you mean by that." "Oh, come on," Meghan said. "You know exactly what I mean. You sit here in your perfect little studio with your perfect little questions, and you think you can just ask me whatever you want." Lara shook her head. "I am just doing my job. I am a host. I ask questions. That is literally what I am here to do." "Well, maybe you should do your job better," Meghan snapped. The entire studio gasped. Crew members behind the cameras looked at each other in shock. This was live television. Millions of people were watching this happen in real time. Lara took another breath. She was clearly trying very hard to stay professional. I think you are being unfair. I have been nothing but respectful to you. Respectful? Meghan said loudly. You call this respectful? Asking me these invasive questions? What invasive questions? Lara asked. She genuinely seemed confused. I asked you about your work and your charitable projects. Those are normal topics. Meghan stood up from her chair. I do not have to sit here and take this. Lara looked up at her. Take what? I have not said anything wrong. I have not been rude to you. I have tried to give you a platform to talk about things you care about. A platform? Meghan said. You think you are giving me a platform? I do not need you. I do not need this show. I do not need any of this. Lara stood up too. For the first time, she looked frustrated. Then why did you agree to come here? Why did you say yes to this interview if you did not want to be here? Meghan pointed at Lara. Do not turn this around on me. You are the one who has been attacking me this whole time. Attacking you? Lara said. Her voice got louder. I have not attacked you. I have asked you normal questions. I have been polite. I have been professional. You are the one who has been hostile since the moment you sat down. I am hostile, Meghan said. You have some nerve. You sit here acting all innocent, but I know what you are doing. What am I doing? Lara asked. Please, tell me. Because I honestly have no idea what you are talking about. Meghan stepped closer. You are trying to make me look bad. You are trying to twist everything I say. Lara held up her hands. I have not twisted anything. You have barely said anything. Every time I ask you a question, you get defensive. Maybe because your questions are ridiculous, Meghan said. Lara shook her head. My questions are not ridiculous. They are the same questions I ask everyone. If you watch this show, you would know that. Oh, so now you are saying I do not watch your show, Meghan said. That is just perfect. That is exactly the kind of thing you would say. I did not say that, Lara said. You are putting words in my mouth. The producers were frantically talking to each other off camera. They had never seen anything like this. Nobody knew what to do. Should they cut to commercial? Should they end the interview? This was unprecedented. Meghan crossed her arms again. You know what? I have had enough of this. I have had enough of you. That is fine, Lara said. Her voice was firm now. If you want to leave, you can leave. But do not act like I have done something wrong when all I have done is try to have a conversation with you. A conversation? Meghan laughed again. Is that what you call this? This is an interrogation. It is not an interrogation, Lara said. It is an interview. There is a difference. Meghan picked up her microphone and started to take it off. I am done here. I am not going to sit here and be disrespected like this. Lara watched her. You are not being disrespected. You are being asked questions. That is how interviews work. Do not tell me how interviews work, Meghan said. I know how they work, and this is not it. Then please, Lara said, explain to me what I did wrong, because I genuinely want to understand. Meghan threw her microphone onto the chair. What you did wrong. Everything. Everything about this has been wrong. Lara picked up the microphone and set it down gently. Can you be specific? Because from where I am standing, the only person who has been out of line here is you. Meghan's face turned red. How dare you? How dare you say that to me? I am saying it because it is true, Lara said. You came on this show. You have been rude since the moment you arrived, and now you are throwing a tantrum because I asked you about your work. A tantrum? Meghan said. Her voice was shaking now. You think this is a tantrum? I think you are acting like someone who does not want to be held accountable, Lara said. I think you expected to come here and have everyone worship you, and when that did not happen, you got upset. Meghan took a step forward. You do not know anything about me." "You are right," Lara said. "I do not, because every time I try to ask you something, you attack me instead of answering." The audience sat frozen. Some people had their hands over their mouths. Others were recording on their phones, even though phones were not allowed in the studio. This was the kind of moment that would be talked about for years. Meghan looked around the studio. "You are all against me. All of you. This whole thing was a setup." Lara looked exhausted. "It was not a setup. It was an interview. You were invited here as a guest. We prepared questions. We wanted to showcase you and your work. That was it." "I do not believe you," Meghan said. "I do not care if you believe me," Lara said. "The truth is the truth whether you believe it or not." Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the chair. "I am leaving, and I am going to make sure everyone knows how I was treated here." Lara nodded. "You are welcome to do that, but when you tell people what happened, I hope you tell them the whole truth. I hope you tell them that I was kind to you. I hope you tell them that I asked you normal questions. And I hope you tell them that you were the one who turned this into a disaster." "A disaster?" Meghan said. "You want to see a disaster? Wait until I tell people about this." "Tell them," Lara said. "Tell them everything, because I have nothing to hide. This entire interview is recorded. Anyone can watch it and see exactly what happened." Meghan started walking toward the exit. "You have not heard the last of this." "Probably not," Lara said quietly. As Meghan walked off the set, she turned back one more time. "You are going to regret this." Lara stood there, watching her leave. "The only thing I regret is trying to be nice to someone who clearly did not want kindness." Meghan stopped. For a second, it looked like she might come back, but instead, she turned and stormed off completely. The studio doors slammed behind her. Lara stood alone on the set. The cameras were still rolling. The audience was still silent. She looked directly into the camera. "Well," she said, "that was unexpected. I apologize to everyone watching. I tried my best to have a respectful conversation. Unfortunately, it did not go as planned." She paused and took a breath. "I want to be clear about something. I have been doing this job for a very long time. I have interviewed thousands of people. Some interviews are easy. Some are challenging. But I always try to treat my guests with respect. I ask questions because that is my job. I listen because I care. And I never, ever go into an interview wanting it to go badly." She looked down for a moment, then back up at the camera. "What just happened here was unfortunate, but I stand by everything I said. I was professional. I was polite. And I did nothing wrong. If asking someone about their work and their projects is somehow offensive, then I do not know what world we are living in." The audience started to clap. It started with one person, then two, then the whole studio was applauding. Lara looked surprised. She smiled a small, tired smile. "Thank you," she said. "That means a lot." She sat back down in her chair. "We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will continue with the rest of our show, because that is what we do here. We keep going, we stay positive, and we do not let one difficult moment ruin an entire day." The camera cut to commercial, but in the studio, people were still talking. The crew came over to Lara to make sure she was okay. She nodded and said she was fine. One of the producers walked over. "That was incredible. The way you handled that was incredible." Lara shrugged. "I just told the truth. That is all I ever do." "Do you want to address it more when we come back from commercial?" the producer asked. Lara shook her head. "No. I said what I needed to say. Let us move on. Let us get back to doing what we do best, which is making people smile." The producer nodded. "You are amazing, Lara. Truly." Lara smiled. "I am just doing my job." Back in the control room, the director was on the phone. Yes, she left. Yes, it was as bad as it looked. No, Lara handled it perfectly. She was a total professional. The assistant director looked at the monitors. This is going to be everywhere. Every news outlet is going to pick this up. Let them, the director said. Anyone who watches that footage will see exactly what happened. They will see who was reasonable and who was not. On social media, clips of the interview were already spreading. People could not believe what they had just witnessed. The comments were flooding in. Lara was so patient. I would have lost it way sooner. What was that guest thinking? Lara asked normal questions. I've never seen anything like this on morning television. Lara Spencer is a class act. The way she stayed calm was incredible. That guest was completely out of line. Totally uncalled for. Back in the studio, the commercial break was ending. Lara checked her makeup in a small mirror. She smoothed her hair. She took one more deep breath. 30 seconds, someone called out. Lara looked at the camera. She was ready. She had been through difficult moments before. She would get through this one too. 15 seconds. She sat up straight. She put on her professional smile. Not a fake smile, but a real one. Because despite what had just happened, she still loved her job. She still cared about her audience, and she was not going to let one bad interview change that. 5, 4, 3, 2. The cameras came back on. Lara looked directly at the viewers at home. Welcome back to Good Morning America. Now, let us talk about something that will actually make you smile today. And just like that, she moved on. Because that is what professionals do. They do not dwell. They do not complain. They keep going. The rest of the show went perfectly. Lara interviewed a chef who made amazing desserts. She talked to a family who had rescued a dog. She laughed with her co-hosts about a funny video that had gone viral. By the time the show ended, the earlier drama felt like it had happened days ago, not hours. When the cameras finally turned off for the day, Lara stood up and stretched. She was tired, but she felt good. She had handled an impossible situation with grace. She had stood up for herself without being cruel. She had been honest without being mean. One of the younger producers came up to her. Lara, can I ask you something? Of course, Lara said. How did you stay so calm? I would have been furious. Lara smiled. I was furious, but being furious does not help anyone. Acting with dignity and honesty, that helps. That shows people who you really are. You were amazing, the producer said. I was just myself, Lara replied. That is all any of us can be. As Lara gathered her things and prepared to leave the studio, she thought about the interview. She thought about how quickly things had gone wrong. She thought about how hard she had tried to fix it, and she thought about how, in the end, all she could do was be honest. She did not regret anything she had said. She did not regret standing up for herself, and she definitely did not regret staying professional, even when the other person had not. Walking out of the studio, Lara passed by several crew members. Each one of them gave her a thumbs up or a supportive smile. One person even started clapping. Lara laughed and waved them off. Stop it, she said. I was just doing my job. You did it really well, someone called out. Lara smiled. Thank you. That means everything. She pushed open the door and stepped outside. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. It was a beautiful day. And despite everything that had happened, Lara felt proud. She had been tested, and she had passed. She had shown millions of people what real professionalism looked like. She had proven that you can stand up for yourself while still being kind. You can be firm while still being fair. You can be strong while still being graceful. As she walked to her car, Lara's phone buzzed. It was a text from one of her co-hosts. You were incredible today. So proud of you, Lara typed back. Thank you. just another day at the office. But it was not just another day. It was the day that Lara Spencer showed the world exactly who she was. A professional, a host, a person with integrity, and someone who would not back down when faced with rudeness and disrespect. She got in her car and started the engine. As she drove away from the studio, she turned on the radio. A song she loved was playing. She turned it up and sang along. Because that is what you do when you know you did the right thing. You move forward. You do not look back. And you definitely do not let one difficult person ruin your entire day. Lara Spencer had faced one of the most challenging moments of her career, and she had come out the other side stronger, more respected, and more admired than ever before. Not because she had been mean,